Hi friends, welcome to Gotham Brothers and Schoolers. This is Devlog 4 of the Godot Flight Simulator, and this little light is what it's all about. So let's get started. Now, while this light might not seem like much, if we go into the script, there's something here, and there's also a hint at what it does, because there's a head and behind color option. Let's see. You can see it looks red, but let's slowly move ahead of it. Avoid hitting it. And it turns green. There are many lights on an airport that are one color one direction and a different color the different direction. So today we'll be populating our airport with these bi-directional lights. By the way, there's some lights that just look, you can only see them in one direction. So for that we'll just set one of the emission colors to black, which is basically zero emission. Let's get started. So the first place we'll be putting these is at the starts of the runways. Right here. Next, we'll change. These are also based on rotation. So before, this is the red direction and this is the, what do you call it, green direction. So we need the green direction to point here. So we need to rotate it by 90 degrees here. Just move them 10-ish meters. Let's go with 5 meters in fact. They're moved more in real life, but this is a very small runway. It's only about 20 meters wide. Just duplicate it over to the other side because we need 6 of these lights. I tried to get PAPI working, which are basically like lights that tell you how to land, but it just wouldn't work. Let's put some at the other end of the runway, which very important. We have to rotate 180 degrees. So Command T. And that should work. Let's see. I have disabled the sun for now, so it looks a little dark throughout the entire thing. Our lights work. I'm pretty sure we'll also be adding taxi lights into the hangar area soon, so you can taxi out of it without having to hunt for the taxiway. You know what? I'm lazy. Let's just take off from the taxiway. We can see those lights. They are red. Staying up can sometimes be a challenge. Let's watch them. They should turn green as we turn around. Oh no, they don't turn green. I have no idea what's wrong with them. Maybe we'll have better luck with the other lights. Please turn green. Yay! These ones seem to work. Oh, those ones are green now too. Which means there's something wrong. Hopefully this is the last test we have to do before we can put the rest of them all over the airport. Knife edge. By the way, do not try this in a real Cessna 150. I don't think they can handle that sort of flight. Please work. Yes, it worked, and hopefully those are still red because they're red too. I can just barely see them for a few pixels. Now let's travel down the runway. Those are now red, which is good. We are now directly on the runway center line, and we can see those are red. Let's deploy flaps so we can stay up. Now let's pull up. Those are green. Okay, great. And let's just reconfirm. Yes, those are also red. Finally, they work. Finally. Next up are the holding lights for the taxiway. And because there's only really one taxiway, that's a rapid entry exit taxiway, so it doesn't have holding lights. I don't think they do. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't think they'd have holding lights. We should also probably reduce the size of this light now because this is a huge light. 2 and 0.4. Yeah, we'll have to make this mesh unique. Now we can do 0.2 and 0.4. And let's just put the holding lights right here. The ahead color will be no color. Basically, it'll be black. RGB 0, HSV 0, RAW 0, everything is 0 basically. The behind color, which would mean this direction, we're gonna have to travel this far to test this one. Let's put up 5 right across the middle of the taxiway to give planes a very good idea of where they're supposed to stop. Okay, this should work now. Now for the very long taxiway journey we're gonna take. I guess we'll just time lapse the taxi part. Now let's lower throttle to a very low 0% for this part, just to see if they change. They're red. They're red. They should just turn black. They're green now. That's weird. Right, I forgot to change the head color. This has to be black for this. And yeah, that should be it. Now for the second very long taxiway journey, which doesn't actually take that long because I do it at like 75% throttle. And remember, zero throttle here. I don't think the plane does ever go below 14 kilometers per hour. So we'll have to add brakes. Let us see, the lights are red. They are non-visible here. They are still visible, but as an object, but see, they're black. Let's just quickly turn around. Not good, but let's keep going. Those lights should turn red even if we're off the runway. Taxiway, rather. And they do. Okay, perfect. Let's just duplicate these. They still do show green here for some reason. Let's take them over here. I have no idea where to put the holding lights. I guess we just put them at a similar position. So like here. And then I think this one allows us to move. Yeah, right here. Let's put them here. Rotate them a bit. Now I wanted to make some of those lights that are here, and they tell the pilot 3, 2, 1 rapid exit taxiway. No, they're actually the 3, 2, 1 pattern. For here, we'll have to make the angle. I think I rotate it like this. Let's see, back about the same amount, which was like I think 60 degrees. Yeah, so let's go with 180 here, which this is the one. The behind color should be white. Then let's go back a little more. Back a little more. Now we select both of these, duplicate them 3 meters, and this one even more. And that's the 3, 2, 1 pattern. I think we can move these two, never mind. Now to just check, never mind. Let's just check if we can see them. Okay, there are some lights that go along the lines of 3, 2, 1. Undo tilt. And yes, we can't see them from this side, which means they're saying that's forward, which is wrong. Which means I'll have to individually adjust every single one of them. Yes, which puts this negative 90. Come on. 6 lights isn't that big of a problem, but imagine if we had 25 runways on an airport that shouldn't exist. Chicago here has like 7 runways if I'm not wrong. So a lot of rapid exit taxiways, and usually there are 2 per runway because large aircrafts, large runways means large amount of rapid exit taxiways. I think some even have 3 or 4. Let's go. This time we will do a taxiing. For the last corner we will need to slow down unfortunately and can't taxi at 50 kilometers per hour right there. And right, definitely safe. Definitely not being too risky for a taxi. We need to use rudder pedals at this point. We do not want to be over speeding at that part because we just go off the runway. Some lights, I can see some lights there. Oh, those are just the... Yeah, we need to go faster here. Let's go 40 flaps for increased drag. "40 flaps looks crazy. Maybe if we... Yep, they're going up. There we are, the runway holding lights, which we should see disappear. We can increase throttle now slightly. They turn off. And now there are lights here. Should turn on as we go by them. 2, 3. So let's go a little forward. Turn around. This is what I want by countdown. So see here, you can see if we taxi at a taxiable speed, there's 3 lights right now, and then a bit ahead of that, let's go a little faster. Airline taxi speeds. Those turned off. There's 2 lights, and there's 1 light, and then there's a rapid exit taxiway on which you can't be rapid towards the end unless you want to go right off the taxiway. Let's actually try to take this turn. Yeah, even with the cheating head start we couldn't get, and somehow we're flying. I have no idea how we're flying at this speed. Okay, never mind, we crashed. So those are done. Now for the hard part. I'll just time lapse making all the lights that need to be dual directional. See you after that. Welcome back. I've done a few things after the time lapse. First, I unhid the sun so it actually looks right now. And second, this is not our runway, this is this other runway in the airport. Like, you can see it now gets its own lights, which is cool. And this is our airport. And let's just do a full flight now. I also extended the touchdown zone lights to be more accurate. And turned the day night cycle back on. Like it was still on, just. I'm pretty sure 28 knots is too fast for taxiing, but it's not a real plane. In fact, this is the best time to show the flaps. You see here, flaps are to 40 degrees and that looks like 40. Now it's 30, 20, 10 and 0. For the, you can see for the rudder, well, now you can see the rudder moving. Let me just use it to get back on course. And the elevator. Yes, you can pull your nose off the ground literally here, like at 23 knots, which will probably be fixed when I implement blade element theory, which is like the most advanced way you can. That was very close to falling off. That is the most advanced way, well, not the most advanced, it's the most realistic way you can implement flight physics without running literal airflow simulations over your aircraft, which I don't think this computer or any main computer has enough RAM to do. Like, there are probably plenty with enough RAM, but those are like the highest end, like 64 gigabytes of RAM, that type of thing. And you can see the extended touchdown zone lights, full power, and let's take off. Just slightly pulling up on the elevator until we pull off the ground. Perfect. We take off every time just around half the length of the runway, and I could do it much shorter because that was 700 meters and a Cessna 150's takeoff distance is around 250 to 300 meters if I remember correctly. So yeah, I intentionally take a lot of time to take off. Yeah, let's pull up now before we hit the giant mountain. The sun's up there in the corner, right up there. And the best part, I slightly reduce the drag so that you can actually cruise at a cruisable throttle rather than having to cruise at 100% throttle. Well, technically we're still in climb right now, so I guess a little bit more throttle would be good. 470. I'm just looking around and like looking around for no reason actually. And landing lights on. Oh, there's the airport. We've been cruising right over it. This is why we need PAPI. You can't tell if you're on a 9-degree glide slope or a 3-degree one. The only thing I hope, let's pull flaps out a little, is that I can land. Because landing is actually decently hard. Can be. And we're right at the start of the runway. Perfect. Flare a little, lower throttle, flare, and touchdown. We can lower throttle now. What? And we're more or less stopped. There's a little glitch that you can't go below 14 kilometers per hour or about 7 knots. 8 knots more like. You can see this other airport. It looks very creepy because there's no taxiway lights or anything. And that's it for Devlog 4. Hope you like the video. Bye!